Heyo everybody, Haku here with my Special HaQ&A 9.5, and as I said in HaQ&A 9, this is because I got a huge surge in comments from my first review of The Walking Dead Season 6 finale sometime late last week, and instead of flooding the entire HaQ&A this week with that, I decided to move some of them here to a side one because I know it's two and at least one of the two does bring up Kirkman's apology, and that's sort of a talking point with some fans right now, so I did want to give my thoughts on the apology as well. Right now I've got the comments up, and then I will I'll just cut somewhere in the middle of the video and go to the apology, because I do want to actually have it up so I can discuss it part by part. So this is kind of a discussion mixed with HaQ&A, but first up, before I get into that, last night after filming HaQ&A 9, I got 2 more comments on that video, so I'm going to go ahead and throw them in this one instead of doing them in next week's. And they're both by Penitenti Alarts. Not sure. Penitenti Alarts. So their first comment said Jeffrey Dean Morgan's portrayal of Negan was way off base, and I agree with that. I think that Negan, I've said it before, I think he was way too chill and calm and trying to act sly, whereas Negan is more just bold, boisterous, out there, outgoing, arrogant. He's just a big personality, and I think that not giving them that sort of huge, outgoing, boisterous personality is a bit of a mistake, because I think that's what fans like in Negan, but I'm not going to say his portrayal was bad. I think it was off what I wanted it to be, but it wasn't necessarily bad, and in my opinion, I think it's way too early to completely judge it. Even though I was harsh at first, I think at this point, we haven't seen that much of it, and it can always get way, way better. Of course, it could always get worse, but I doubt it will. I think it can only get better as we see more of him, and I hope that that's the case. Their second comment said that Hardwick's rant made me give up on either of the Talking Deads. I can't take him seriously anymore. Me personally, I still watch The Talking Dead. I still do like Chris Hardwick. I definitely disagreed with his thoughts on that. His thoughts on that finale just seemed really manufactured, and it's like he kept making excuses, and I totally understand that because he doesn't make the show, but you know, he was the first one fans went to complain and attack him. So he sort of like was under attack and had to make excuses, but they were really lame excuses, like it's a story for later. And if that was the case, they could have ended when Negan showed up and not giving us a partial scene after that. Because for me, like I've said, and this is the best way to just shorten down my thoughts the smallest bit I can, for comic fans, there was a scene that everybody said was done just perfectly in the comics, or close to perfectly, so they could have kept it as close to exactly like that scene as possible, and comic fans would have been totally happy, and show fans would have probably been happy too. So they took a weird chance that seems like a very stupid chance to me, and they failed, it backfired on them. But at the end of the day, I do think that's what it is. I don't think it was anything malevolent or they had any bad intentions behind it. I do think that they just made a mistake. They just thought that they were going to do something good, and somehow they thought it was good. I have no idea how. And it just backfired on them, and I'd say 80 to 90% of fans really, really did hate it. And again, I don't completely hate the episode, and I don't think most fans completely hate the episode. It's just that the ending sort of ruins it. And for show fans, on the other hand, they spoil exactly what happens. They show somebody gets, they do the eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and somebody gets beaten to death by a bat. They tell us that. They spoil it, but they don't actually show it. And I think that's a massive, massive mistake in writing. We're gonna tell you exactly what happens, but we're not gonna show it. You have to wait till next season to see us actually show it. But we're gonna tell you exactly why it happens. So that was pretty bad there. And I have already gotten way off topic, but I did want to, before I get into the next two comments, I wanted to give you guys that sort of overview on what my thoughts are and pretty much were. So, the two comments in question, I don't know, said, "You're wrong, it was a cliffhanger. Kirkman apologized for it and even called it the cliffhanger." I'm sorry, but that's not really an argument. Saying you're wrong, telling somebody you're wrong isn't an argument that they're wrong. And of course, you can always think differently. You can absolutely love, like, I think it was a mistake and I think it was bad because of the last scene, but you can always completely love the finale, and I'm totally cool with that. That's like perfectly fine. I mean, it's art. It's up to your different interpretation and what you value and enjoy in it. But I guess my interpretation was wrong. So it was a cliffhanger, and my response to just saying it was a cliffhanger is, I could say that this video, I could say it's a Let's Play, but it's not a Let's Play. I mean, I could turn in half an essay for college and call it an essay, but at the end of the day, it's only halfway finished. It's not an essay. Like, anybody can call it a cliffhanger, and you can sort of make that argument for sure. But the comment didn't make that argument, but it's possible to make that argument. But just looking at it and how they told you exactly what happened but didn't show it, that sort of keeps it from being a cliffhanger and more makes it an unfinished scene or a misleading scene. Next is Cara Kelly, and I'm not going to lie, I don't want to insult the person, but this comment is kind of a mess, and I'll go through it. First they said, "Oh, horseshit. Fans," in quotation mark, "are upset because they're oblivious that this is a story. Nobody thinks it's because they have to wait. They aren't fans, they're crybabies who assume the entire 6 seasons of The Walking Dead was about who Negan kills instead of having the presence of mind to pay attention to the story being told. There was an ending, it does have an ending. The story was that Rick's group got too cocky and presumed they were invincible, and at the end of it, they got put on their knees by somebody who outsmarted them at every turn. That was the story, the arc, the entire point of every episode, coming to the conclusion of Team Rick on their knees and losing one of their own because of it. End of story. They just changed perspective to first-person view since most of y'all silly ones thinking The Walking Dead is just a televised FPS. No, the story they told all season was the fall of Rick and his group. It also wasn't about the comic. It's never been a reflection of the comics and not the point trying to appease comic book readers. You clearly don't comprehend proper storytelling. So season 7 is a teaser for next time. Then we deal with who was killed and how it plays out. Y'all got this so ridiculously wrong because you don't seem to understand what the story was. I also think y'all just parasite onto the idea of a fan revolt just to get video views. So first up with this, it's not really an argument again. It's just one of those like random comments where people want to hate on something, but they don't really know how to do it. So they just say everybody who disagrees with me is crybabies, and they just aren't smart enough to understand. They just don't understand. And not even mentioning the whole televised FPS thing doesn't make any sense because that's like the opposite of the argument that they were trying to make. So it's really just a random hate comment, but I do want to give it attention that it deserves, or give the argument attention, even not the comment, because the comment it didn't really have a point, even though it was so many paragraphs long. I guess like I don't know, it's just not an argument that you can respond to saying everybody who disagrees with me is just stupid or doesn't understand or crybabies. And obviously 90% of people disagree, so I would say that they are the ones who understand, they are the ones who are fans, and just blindly sucking up to something that was objectively not very good isn't very isn't a very good thing to do. Because like I said, you can still like or dislike stuff. Overall, my personal feelings, I still like the episode, even though I think the end ruins it. But my reviews are about looking at something critically. And when you look at something critically and objectively, I can say even though I liked something, it was bad. Or even though I liked something, it was good. Take like anime, because it's something that I do as well. Things that I like, though I don't cover on the channel, I like Bleach, but Bleach is one of the worst manga ever written in my opinion. The actual writing of it is terrible, but I still enjoy it, I still like it. Same is kind of true with Naruto, the writing isn't as bad. The anime is a complete shit show, probably one of the worst anime ever made, mostly because of just fillers and money grubbing and stuff like that. But the point is, I can like stuff and admit that it's terrible. I like a lot of The Walking Dead and say that it's good when it's good, or that it's bad when it's bad. And there are ones that I've even said were good and given a good review to, and even told people, you know, I didn't really like it that much, but it was good objectively. And with this, I did kind of like the episode, because I really enjoyed all of it except the unfinished voice crack. The unfinished scene. I really did like all of it except that, but objectively it was really not very good. Having an unfinished scene really ruined it. And another thing that this sort of comment reminded me was like, Japan has a term that's like chunibyo, which I don't know. I guess it's like, the best way I can describe it in English would be like middle schooler syndrome. And it pretty much like talks about this whole thing that most people go through in middle school, where they're like, you know, everybody thinks they have some special importance or insight or power that nobody else has. But then you grow older and you're like, okay, I am still unique, I am still me, but I don't have some special insight or power that nobody else in the world has. And I think this person is somehow suffering from that. And you see it a lot with, like, I don't know, people always complain about Tumblr SJWs or whatever. And I think this person kind of has that going, where they're sort of like, they think they have some sort of insight or something going that nobody else has, that everybody else is wrong, everybody else just watched the episode, and they're just stupid and crybabies and don't understand stories. But this person gets it. They're really they have the insight that none of us have. We're all wrong, guys. Everybody, all of us. But seriously, before I move on to the actual apology from Kirkman, I just want to address the last line of this, where it says, "You just parasite onto the ideas of a fan revolt to video views." I gotta say that does bother me. All of the channels out there that are doing like point of view, who it is explained, and you know they do the clickbait thumbnails with a red circle and an arrow that points to pretty much nothing. And a lot of like a ton of the big channels do this because it's all clickbait and made by like companies instead of actual people, actual YouTubers. But things like that, yeah, I get where you're coming from, and those do annoy me. But you kind of see how small the channel is, right? I expected something like that at that point in time for a Walking Dead review. I would have been lucky to get like 30 to 50 views, maybe up to 100 if somebody shared it. And even now, it's only gotten, what, around 500-ish? Like, that's not some big video view things. I'm not getting 1 to 10 million. It got 500 views, which again isn't even like one of my most viewed videos. So I don't get the parasiting for video views thing. I think, again, just random hate comment. So let's move on to the actual meat of this video, hopefully, even though I wasted almost 15 minutes talking about... Well, I'm not going to say wasted, because I do appreciate all your comments. Even if you disagree with me, it's totally cool to disagree. And like in the HaQ&As, I have people that disagree all the time, and we just talk back and forth about it. It's these probably just weren't good examples of disagreement, though, because they were kind of just like random, you're wrong because you're not smart and you don't understand, and everybody except me doesn't understand. So those were kind of bad examples, but it's completely cool to disagree. Random hate comments, maybe not as cool, but I'm the kind of guy that doesn't care. I definitely keep all comments and yeah, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm getting way off topic. So let me jump to the apology real quick. All right, and we're back. Now, welcome to the Kirkman apology breakdown. So let's break it down line by line, or paragraph by paragraph, I guess. First one says, okay, the season 6 finale has certainly caused a fervor online. Everyone is talking about it. Some people love it. Some people are indifferent. Some people hate it. We weren't trying to game the audience. We weren't trying to drive you crazy. And we certainly weren't trying to force you to come back for season 7. We hope you were always planning on doing that and still plan on doing that. For this, I'm going to say that, yeah, I think people are giving people like Kirkman and Chris Hardwick and Gimple way too hard a time. Sure, it was a huge mistake in the show, and it was a really bad scene, a really bad ending that really hurt the episode and the season. But I don't think it's some big evil conspiracy against the fans or anything like that. It's just they made a big mistake. Kirkman next says, we did want you to talk, and talk you are. The speculation, the frustration, the possibilities, the theories. Honestly, in my mind, that stuff is fun. I honestly feel like that's something fun for fans to do during the break. Was it Spencer? Could it have been Morgan? What about Carol? Did Negan kill Jesus? Note, none of them were there. I'm not giving anything away. I know people are angry over this, but it wasn't our intent. The idea was that after 6 seasons of a show, we wanted to stay on your mind and give you something to talk about. And again, this is probably the lamest excuse. This is the worst excuse. This is the thing that fans are upset about and talking about this apology because people are going to talk about it nonetheless. It's a huge franchise, and actually showing it would have made people talk more. Seeing who it would have made us think, okay, where do things go from here? But giving us that half scene, all we're allowed to talk about is that scene. We're constricted to only being able to talk about that scene, and here it is only a month later, and already that is oversaturated. Nobody feels like talking about it anymore. So it was a huge backfire. They completely just it does not make people talk more. And I honestly think that, of course, the whole point of it wasn't to rope people into watching season 7, but that was a big part of it. And I know I just said it's not a huge conspiracy or anything, and it isn't. It was an honest mistake, but I do think trying to get people to watch the season 7 premiere was part of it. And that's just sad. Just this whole apology is pretty damned sad. I don't know, it really does seem like a cheap excuse. Next he says, and think of it this way, a character you love and are going to miss is dead, and we gave you a few extra months to hope, not to grieve. Is there uncertainty? Yes, but that was kind of the idea. Again, this is kind of sad. If we knew they were dead, if we were grieving, people would have talked more. People would have liked it. It would have been talk, and it would have been good talk. Now you do have talk, but it isn't good. It's like drama getting views. Does it get views? Yes, but are they constructive views for the most part? No, for the most part, they hurt the channel that's being attacked by whatever. The person gets more views, but they're not constructive views. They are views that hurt you. They don't last. It's a lot of dislikes, stuff like that. And lastly, he says, but seriously, everyone on the Walking Dead team wanted to do something cool. We wanted to do something different, and we did it to change things up. Get people excited and keep this show on your mind. For some of you, that effort backfired, and you're angry, and for that I'm sorry. The only thing I can promise you is that the Season 7 premiere is going to be awesome. And when viewed as a 2-part episode, the way every season of Star Trek The Next Generation ended, with the first half of a 2-part episode that was a cliffhanger, it's going to be a pretty awesome ride. And every minute of the Season 6 finale was important and was setting something up that you won't see coming, or you probably won't see coming. it's a cool episode, and remember, there's a lot more for Negan to do. Be afraid, be very afraid, and excited. Honestly, season 7 is the least excited I've been for a season, because like I said, I think they've gone way off track. They need to try to get back on track for the premiere. And I think it's way too early for him to say that about the premiere, which kind of leads me to think, again, that's one of those things where you're like, you're angry, but I can promise you something better to make you not angry anymore. And it's just cheap, and it's treating fans kind of like they're a bit stupid. So it's just not very good. I'm not liking the way that they're handling all of the hate and backlash. I think that the most constructive and honest way to do it, instead of, oh, we can promise you season 7, or hey, we gave you this instead of giving you this, and trying to play it like they did something good or like special, is to admit, okay, you're all angry, and you're all angry for a reason. Just admit that, man, if this many people hated it, maybe they're not blindly hating it, maybe they have a reason. Just admit, okay, we had an idea, and that idea just wasn't good. It just didn't work. Be honest with fans. Just say, okay, we thought we had something good going, and it wasn't good. So we're going to have to try to fix it for season 7. And that would be honest, and I appreciate that. And even though, again, I've been very harsh on this, and I do think it's a lot of hollow excuses, I will say that I'm very proud of Kirkman and happy that he did address the situation at all, because I know that he was probably getting attacks all over, so addressing it is probably something very difficult to do. And again, it's not any one person's fault, so all of that hate directed at him isn't very constructive, but I do appreciate that he did bring it up. So in closing, I guess, I still think that the finale was pretty bad. If you like it, that's completely cool. Everybody can always have differing opinions. I just didn't think it was very good. And to tell somebody else that what they think of it is wrong is really, really stupid. So if you think that it's good, I'm never going to tell you you're wrong, it's bad. That's completely up to you if you think it is good. I personally don't think so. And when it comes to the apologies, I think they're really ingenuine and kind of make it sound like fans are stupid and like they're angry for no reason. And it's not admitting that, okay, the episode did not do what it needed to do, did not do what fans wanted. The episode was a flop. So in the end, I guess that's it. This video was about 50 million times longer than I expected it to be. I expected it to be a very, very short one, honestly, but I think it's a discussion people are interested in, or else they wouldn't be commenting. And I want to give you all what you want to talk about and discuss it with you. So, if you did like this video, comment down there and tell me what you thought of my thoughts on the subject and what you think on the subject as well. Subscribe for more Walking Dead, Tower of God, One Piece, and a lot more. And yeah, follow on Twitter as well, because I'll keep you updated there on posting stuff and pushing stuff back. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.